Welcome to episode 29 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host, Carlo. Today, I would like to talk to you about 5 recurring questions over fat loss. Next week, we're gonna see the other 5, so let's start with the first ones. One favor I have to ask you, if you like this podcast and you're enjoying this, please share it on your social channels. That will surely help me. Happy listening. Fat loss is big, it's huge, right? And I'm sure you heard it a lot of times. I want to lose fat. I need to lose fat. I want to get rid of fat. Perfect. Now, today I would like to go through with you to the most common questions over fat loss that have been asked in the past few months. How many of those questions would you ask me? Let's see. Tell me at the end of the podcast. Question number 1. How can I get the famous six-pack? And this is probably one of the most recurring questions I have been asked. Everybody wants the six-pack, right? And I have to say, it looks good. But if you're a man or a female, it looks good to have abs. But there's one harsh truth. There is no single method to get a six-pack. Well, actually, there is one. There is one way to make a six-pack more visible and quote-unquote easier to get. And I am pretty sure you're about to guess the answer. And the answer is calorie deficit. Yep, that's always the same thing. And you might hear these 2 words pretty often today. Sorry about that. I was watching a video about training your core, training your abs. And the trainer, Coach Kassem, said a very good analogy that I would like to tell you as well. If you train your core, if you do 1,000,000 abs, 1,000,000 crunches, you name it, you might build a stronger six-pack, true. But if the six-pack is at the end of the fridge, it doesn't matter if you put a lot of six-packs because they still are at the end of the fridge. If you want the six-pack to be visible, you have to have the six-pack in front. And how do we make it possible? We lose fat. Because if your abs are stronger, super powerful, but they are covered by enough fat, they will not be as visible. And this is the harsh truth. You might have a great, super powerful and chiseled abs, but if they're covered in fat, sorry, but they will still be hidden. If you want to have them visible, you have to go through a calorie deficit. That means that over time you will lose fat. You will probably also lose fat specifically on the belly after a while, and your six-pack will be, boom, there, right there, visible. Sorry, there's not really any other way to do that. Question number 2, and this is usually straight away coming after the six-pack question. Okay, how can I lose belly fat? Or how can I lose fat here? Or how can I lose fat there? AKA spot fat reduction. How can you lose fat in a specific area of your body, quote unquote, on command? Shower of truth, you cannot. Listen again, you cannot. I'm serious. You cannot have spot fat reduction. I'm saying this slowly. You cannot. And there's no way you can. Unless you go and have some surgeries. But that's not natural, not recommended, risky, waste of money. If you're going through the real way, which is basically through a calorie deficit, your body will lose fat. Now, the way you lose fat, it depends on your DNA. It depends on how your body is programmed. I, for once, if I go through fat loss, I lose fat on my face really fast first, and then in other areas of your body. Chances are you probably are the same. You might lose fat fast on your face and then in other areas of your body. Now, if you want to lose that stubborn fat on your stomach, the answer is still the same. Go through calorie deficit and do it consistently. Trust the process, be consistent, and you will lose the stubborn fat around your belly or the fat around your triceps if this is something that affects you. And there's no other way around. Believe me. When you see on Instagram those animations and those videos that show you exercises to lose the love handles, it's BS. It's raging, flaming BS. Forget about those. Training absolutely helps, but it will not make you lose fat in specific areas of your body. Sorry, maybe not so sorry. Question number 3. How can I lose fat fast? And yeah, it's kind of a chain of questions that come one after the other. How can you lose fat fast? The answer is simple. Calorie deficit. But will it happen overnight? No. Will it happen if you are consistently in a calorie deficit? Yes. How can it happen fast? Well, if you are 100% consistent in your calorie deficit over a month, yeah, you will lose fat. Is it going to be fast? Well, I'm not sure, because it depends on the level of caloric deficit that you have. But one thing that I want to make clear, your caloric deficit has to be sustainable and consistent. If you go through a insane calorie reduction, maybe you will lose fat fast, sure, but after a while, say, even if you're 100% consistent, after 1 month or 2 months, maybe you will resist, sure, but then if the calorie deficit is too extreme, it means that it's very hard to resist doing it. And then when you stop doing it, chances are you will start eating ravenously everything that you stopped eating before, because your restriction was too aggressive. And what happens when you do so? You might end up being in a calorie surplus and therefore gaining back all the weight that you lost, most of the time with some extras. To sum it up, yes, you can lose fat if you are in a calorie deficit consistently applying a reasonable calorie deficit. Wowzers, I lost count of how many times I already said calorie deficit. But it kind of feels good, right? So if you wanna say that with me, calorie deficit. Don't you feel better after saying this? I don't know, I kind of do. Question number 4. Carlo, pasta makes me fat. Well, that's not true. Surprise, surprise, breaking news. Carbohydrates don't make you fat. What makes you fat is calorie surplus, aka you're eating way too much over a way too long amount of time. So if I eat 6,000 calories every day for the rest of the month, I will gain a lot of weight. But I can avoid entirely carbohydrates. I can eat, say, chicken, beef, pork, veggies, and even if I eat only those quote-unquote lean and clean stuff, even so, if I eat way too many calories, I will still get fat. So, nope, carbohydrates are not your enemy, are actually pretty much essential in your diet. And as everything else, just eat them in moderation. Make them fit your diet and your macronutrients every day, and you're settled to success. Question number 5, and whenever I hear this, oh boy, it really triggers me. It really triggers me. You want to trigger me? Ask me this question. What supplements can I take to lose fat? Okay, I need to breathe a little bit. Long story short, there is no supplement that will help you to lose 1 single gram of fat. Hold on. You are about to say that. You are about to say, I know because this is the common counter to my argument. The counter is, oh, but science says that this supplement works. Science tells you that this ingredient is good for fat loss. Well, I don't care what it says, because there's no way you can lose fat and lose potentially weight if you're not in a calorie deficit. No freaking way. You can go through body recomposition. Yes, that means that your body fat slowly goes away and turns into muscle because you're working out. But there is no supplement in the entire world that can do that. And if there really is any, is still yet to be discovered. So if you have money to waste on fat burners or those scammy supplements, really take that money, put that in an envelope and donate it to charity. Fair enough, you don't want to donate it to charity? Get a freaking membership to a gym and start working out. Be in a calorie deficit, work out, and boom, there you go. You're losing fat. Surprise. I know, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit sarcastic, but really, seriously, and I'm working in the supplement industry. There is no such thing as a fat burner. End of the story. So if you see that online, on Instagram, if your favorite influencer is pushing such thing, unfollow them, block them, it's a scam. Alright, these were the first 5 more recurring questions of fat loss that have been asked in the past few months. How many of those questions you were going to ask? Be honest. You can let me know on Instagram at thecarl.fit. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with your friends and family and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcast. That is super helpful. Thank you and happy rest of the week.